Hello everyone, welcome back to DIY with Betiza Glam, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make this boater hat. You can see how neat and beautiful it is looking, so let's get right into the video. Now these are the materials we're going to be using for this project. First we have our soft wadding, we have our thread, we have our razor blade, we have our E7000 glue, which I highly recommend for this project. We also have materials like our scissors, measuring tape, masking tape, our boning, our felt cap, already made felt cap. You can get that at the market. We have our beads for embellishment. We have our velvet bias. We have chalk. We have a curved needle. We also have our pen and our straw board, which is the white stuff at the background there. Now to start, we have to mark out the diameter of our hat, and you can do this with any material you have in your house depending on the size that you want. It could be a cover of pot, a cover of a bucket, anything that is just round and is as big as you want. Personally, I used the cover of a very big pot. So I'm going to be using a hat already made to draw out this new circle for this tutorial. So just take your pen, place the hat on the straw board, mark it all the way around, and then you cut it out. Next thing we're going to do now is to cut out this same diameter on our soft wadding. Now I cut out one piece of straw board and one piece of straw wadding. This is because I don't want my hat to be too thick. So the amount or the number of pieces you cut depend on how thick your client wants it to be. The next step is to cut out this same circle on your fabric. Now for this fabric, we are going to be cutting out two pieces and they are not going to be the same size. As you can see, the first piece is going to be a little bit wider than the diameter, maybe about 1 inch or 1.5 inch wider, while the second piece is going to be exactly the size of the circle. Keep watching and you are going to see why this is important. Now we are going to glue our soft wadding on our straw board. You glue the shiny face of the soft wadding to the shiny face of the straw board. You place them facing each other and you kind of straighten it out to remove any creases. Then you open up a small crescent and you take your E7000 glue. Please, I recommend you use E7000 glue because it doesn't stain and it dries fast. So you take your glue, you spread it, leave it for about 30 seconds to 1 minute, and then you flip your soft wadding on your straw board and press it down. And it's as easy as that. Your soft wadding is good to go. You do it all the way around for the circle and your base is ready. After trimming out the excess, ensure you trim out the excess. It is time to now cover our base with our fabric. First of all, you take the circle with the wider diameter. You've placed the back of the fabric facing where we fixed the wadding and then you flip it over. Now the reason why we cut it with a wider diameter is so that we can now fold it with that excess and glue it down to the base. You apply your glue, leave it for about 30 seconds to 1 minute for it to get tacky, and then you fold in the excess fabric to the straw board base. Please ensure that you leave your glue a little to dry and also do it step by step. You have to be very patient with it so that you reduce the creases that you will have. Do this all the way around just like you glued the wadding. Once you are done with that, this is how smooth and beautiful your fabric will be looking. Now it's time to cover the back part with the second piece of fabric, the one that is the exact size of the circle. But first, you trim off the excess fabric from the one that you folded. Trim it off so that it can be very smooth and flat. Place the second fabric covering the white straw board and then do the same thing like you did for the soft wadding. flip it over to form a crescent, apply your glue, spread the glue, wait for 30 seconds to 1 minute for it to get tacky, and then flip it back down and press it until it sticks. Repeat this process all the way around for the diameter of the circle and ensure to trim off the excess fabric. If you've watched this video to this point, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be the first to know whenever I post a new video. Now the next thing to do is to cover this place that we joined the fabric to the straw board, and we're going to do that with a velvet bias, a hemming glue and an iron. To cover it up, you first place your hemming glue on the edge of the fabric where the joining is, then you place your velvet bias on top of the hemming glue and then you press it down with your hot iron. This will make the velvet bias stick to the fabric. Now you have to do this all the way around so that you can properly cover the joining. Next thing to do is to attach our felt cap to the base. Now you have to measure so that you can get it at the middle of the base. So you measure, take your measurement and mark it out with a chalk. This felt cap is an already made felt cap, and you can also make this at home yourself, but this page is about working smart and not working hard. If you also want me to make a video on how to mold this felt cap yourself, just say so in the comments and I will. Apply glue on your felt cap and then glue it down on where you marked on the base. After that, flip it over and make a circle. Cut out a circle from the back because we're going to be stitching down the felt cap to the base. But first we have to strengthen our cap by adding boning to it. You can also strengthen your cap by using top bond glue, but for longevity I chose to use a boning. Now you measure out your boning, cut it out and then join the ends with a masking tape. Ensure you wrap it properly so that it won't have any sharp edges, and then you slide your boning into the fabric. Just like that, your felt cap has attained its structure. Now using a needle and thread, we are going to attach the felt cap to the base to further strengthen it. Thread your needle into 4 and then sew it in from the back. Sew it in passing through the circle that you made in the middle. This is so that it is almost invisible where your thread is attached from, and it will make it very, very neat. Also, after attaching the felt cap to the base, we're also going to turn that base inside. As you can see, this is what I'm talking about. After attaching the felt cap, we are also going to turn that fabric, the edge of the circle that we made, we're going to turn it inside and also tack it down. You can see how beautiful and neat it is looking. The next step is to attach a handle to the cap, and I'm doing this using a velvet bias. You can use whatever fabric you want, but I love to use a velvet bias. And so you are going to cut the velvet bias using the measurements of your head, and then you would turn it, like fold it in to cover the edge, and then put it inside the circle that we made, and you are going to stitch it from the inside. Stitch it over and over and over again so that it is very strong, and then we are done with our cap, guys. This is the final result. You can embellish with anything you want. I chose to embellish with bead. You guys know how to sew bead to a cloth now. If you want me to make a video about that, no problem. Don't forget to like this video if you've learned anything, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you on the next one.